All right. Welcome, everybody. Week 2. Day 6 of the Silent Hill 2 Remake cam hack. We're almost halfway through the apartments. After a week. This is gonna take such a long time, but I'm really enjoying it. We've already found a lot of really interesting things, had a lot of fun discussions. But yeah, hopefully everybody's doing well tonight. Hey Rachel, love you. What's up, Sale? Hey Stoner Gohan, Shadow Noises, Temporal Fry, howdy howdy. What's up, Robert? Hey Mez. Welcome back, Ancient Oleander. Getting silence on these hills. What's crack-a-lackin'? My back, knees. Yeah, same here. Neck, back, hips, knees, ankles, knuckles. Literally just took ibuprofen. Let's take ibuprofen together. Hey, Will Boy. What's up, Nora? Hey, Garlock. Techno Kami. What's up, Tech? It's been 10,000 years, give or take. Hey, what's up, Cruo? Welcome, everybody. Fine Monday evening for some foggy streets. Looking around some decrepit old apartments. If I can get my eyes to focus on my monitor. I'm gonna have to look into getting some glasses. I think a lot of it is also just eye strain. Sitting and looking at monitors for a pretty large portion of the day. I just got done editing. Not done editing, but I was doing editing before I start the stream. I usually spend a few hours working on stuff, upcoming YouTube videos before I do the live streams. And it's always a little bit hard for my eyes to adjust. What am I working on? A Silent Hill 1 iceberg video. For anybody, I've already done that for their Silent Hill 2, like original Silent Hill 2. For anybody who has not seen that video, it's up on the YouTube. But yeah, basically taking a fan-made iceberg chart and going point by point and explaining, because the way the icebergs are set up, for anybody who's, I guess, never seen an iceberg chart, it's basically just a big picture separated out into levels with a bunch of little points of information, but it doesn't explain any of it. It's just like, here's a thing, and then here's a more obscure thing, and then here's a more obscure thing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making a video that's just going point by point, explaining in great detail everything that's on the chart. My Maniac 8. Thank you so much for gifting a sub to Mr. Spoon. Mr. Spoon, enjoy that sub. Enjoy the emotes courtesy of My Maniac 8. Thank you, thank you. Very much appreciate that. SH2 Iceberg is one of those you fall asleep to regularly. Well, I'm still working on Silent Hill 1, and I am still not a very good or efficient editor. So it's gonna take me some time to finish this, but like the majority of it, like recording footage and kind of getting all the pieces ready and all of that is done. It's just editing everything down, and that's the stuff that takes me a while. But I think I'm also not, because I'm not really doing things the way most professional editors do. Like, you can usually, like a professional editor can slap together all those pieces and make a really rough cut fairly quick, and then just go through it and fix things and adjust things. I kind of try to fix and adjust and make everything the way I want it the first time through in a fairly like linear fashion, which is a little bit more, I guess, time consuming, less efficient, but it means I don't really need to do a whole lot by the time I'm through everything. So, we'll see. I don't want to put like a time frame on it because I have no idea how things are going to go, but the work is going. It's in progress. When we used to split film and tape it together, unironically, I feel like I would be faster doing it that way sometimes. Hey, what's up, Ranch Survivor? Just blasting those scam points left and right. How's it going, Burakauto? Hey, Tassadul, good evening. Hey, Dog Syrup. Glad you guys appreciate the work. Sometimes when I'm getting frustrated with editing, especially, I'm not a very good editor. I'm not a very efficient editor, and I don't enjoy editing. If I had the means to afford an editor and have somebody else just give them everything that I have already, like here's all the footage, here's these playthroughs, here's the stuff I want, here's the script and kind of the layout, but I can't afford and gotta do it myself. But it's a good thing for me to get better at. It's something for me. It's an important skill, I think, for being on YouTube and being a streamer. You got to be able to do this stuff yourself. And I don't do very many of those big projects like the Iceberg. This is only my second one. So, hopefully you guys enjoy it. But tonight, we're doing the main thing that I do like doing. which is just playing a game and doing research and sharing it with you all live. Been really enjoying going through Silent Hill 2 Remake. There it is. Been really enjoying going through Silent Hill 2 Remake again and seeing all the detail with the free cam. There is so much more detail and stuff in the environments and the character models, even beyond what I kind of already knew about. So, have you used the Silent Hill level viewer to get some footage for that burg? I'm still waiting on the SH1 free cam stream using that, by the way. Well, it's a little different. Um, and no, so far I have not used a level viewer or anything like that. Epona Croutons, thank you so much for the raid. You're here just at the beginning of the stream. Part 7 on YouTube. We're streaming part 6 live right now. So tomorrow's stream in the future, no, that's not on YouTube yet. Nor is tonight's stream, which has yet to really even begin. What? Are you confused? You confusing me with someone else? Thank you, Epona. Really appreciate the raid. But yeah, for Silent Hill 1, like the stuff that I've been recording has all been in-game. So it's gameplay footage, and a lot of it, as well as like the self-view mode to get like up-close looks at assets and things in the environment. But no, it's all in-game. It's all just during a playthrough that I've been recording and stuff off-stream, so I try not to use too many outside tools that people wouldn't have access to themselves. Like, just for the, I guess, authenticity of what I'm showing you. Like, it's not edited or something specific in terms of mods and things like that to, like, show what I'm talking about or what my points are. I try to make it stuff that people would see in their own playthrough so that they can connect those dots themselves. But certain things, if it requires like mods or free cams or things like that, then I'll use it. But I don't even have anything like that for Silent Hill 1 setup. Yeah, I have not future streamed my streams. This is all live. Actually here right now. There's not like a bank of all of these streams that's already done. I guess that's the way a lot of YouTubers and people do it. You just kind of do it all at once, and then you split up your videos and kind of have it ready to go ahead of time. That's probably really smart and helps on spacing out your workload and all of that. Yeah, I don't do that. I do it like the most difficult way possible. I jump on live. We all do this live. Answer questions in chat and acknowledge everybody as much as I can. Sometimes I miss stuff still, but for the most part, I try to catch everybody's comments and questions, concerns. And then as soon as the stream ends, I'm uploading the raw video to the archive stream, which A lot of people don't know about the archive streams, so let me actually grab a link for chat. Basically, I split up the main channel. So, like, main channel is just at NubZombie, and then I've got that channel that I just put in chat. It's just NubZombie Archives. Sitting at 292 subscribers compared to the almost 8,500 on the main channel, which is awesome. Thank you guys. If you're not already subscribed to the main channel, go check that out too. But yeah, as soon as I finish a stream, the raw video, unedited, just goes straight up onto the archives. That includes all of this yapping that I do at the beginning, just kind of chatting with people and talking about stuff, as well as anything at the end. And then I edit all of that out and kind of just have the main focal point of the streams, the gameplay and all of that, edited down and posted onto the main channel, and make a thumbnail and all of that stuff, usually the following morning. Because, yeah, my nights are kind of busy. I basically edit for several hours, jump on, stream for, a few hours, get that video posted, make dinner, hang out with my wife, and then pass out. Hey, Legate. Hey, Lacomo. Headmaster Kuma. I mean, I'm doing alright. I had a good weekend, but maybe overindulged a little too much. But I had a good time hanging out with some friends, playing Dungeons and Dragons, and just watching stuff. But my friends ordered fast food. I ordered fast food. I ate more junk and sodium than I'm really supposed to. So I feel it. I feel it today. But otherwise, I'm doing alright. I also got woken up super early because our cats are complete dickheads. They're adorable, and I love them, but they're dickheads. Made a baller cobbler. I did that too. I went out and picked some fresh berries from our backyard and made a wild blackberry cobbler. They're called dewberries, southern dewberries. Fresh picked berries in a cobbler. It's good. Good stuff. So, good weekend. Pretty good dates so far. Just a little out of it. Drinking a lot of water. What's a cobbler? It's like a lazy pie. Instead of taking the time to, like, shape the crust and make everything nice, you kind of dump it all into a big baking dish and just go. Am I not getting audio? You guys are getting audio. But I'm not getting audio. There we go. I slightly changed up my headphones and stuff, that's why. This didn't automatically switch over to my default audio devices. But there we go. that was created in a lab to be in sync with every Silent Hill. Possibly. All right. Day 6. Day 6 of the Silent Hill 2 Remake cam hack playthrough. We've been taking our sweet time going through the Woodside Apartments. I've got 2 coins. I still need to go get some juice and drop it down a garbage chute. We should have some other stuff to explore. Just check and see if there's any rooms, things like that, that are not marked off. But at this point, I think we're just going to the 3rd floor. 201 is locked. We don't have that key yet. Thank you, Alanouf. I appreciate that. Checked everything on that hallway. Audio sounds duplicated. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. That should be fixed now. All right, starting on 3rd floor now. Start clipping behind stuff, seeing what's around. Is this hallway actually used? Is this ever accessible? Whoops. Just taking screenshots. Breaking my capture, apparently. Bat fingering everything. Oh, the curtains have collision. None of this has collision. Whoops. Looking over here seems to have broken the game. If I just teleport back over here. Oh, hi. Hi. Hello. Teleport into a room full of mannequins. We'll find our way from here. James, quit posing. It's always these random moments where I'm like, why am I not moving? And I think something is broken. And then I realize James is just Hitting the chainsaw pose. Alright, there we go. So that hallway, not meant to access it, and the game really doesn't like it if you teleport through there. Probably the same for going up here, but I want to go and look at this a little bit as well. Definitely nothing outside the window, and not anything even rendered beyond the stairs there. .313, not rendered. This theoretically should be, yeah, because this is going to be where we get to the juice and the actual garbage chute. We'll come back to it. Try and keep things somewhat in the normal order, since the game's already punishing me for teleporting around. Garlock said, what is the Japanese concept of James driving in the water with the car? So it's not necessarily just that theme, but it's a murder-suicide between lovers in Japan. Muri Shinju. MURISHINJU. Muri Shinju. That was originally mentioned by James's OG voice actor, Guy Seehee, during a playthrough with Fungo many years ago. A1 Superior lead paint. No light bulbs. Bags of cement. Cement is suitable for structural applications. Reinforced concrete. Suspended slab, watertight concrete, heavy-duty industrial floors. I'm always curious because there are some situations where they hide little things in the, like, labels and fine print that's on some of the assets and things in the environment. Let's deal with these mannequins and stuff. We can look around. Crazy amount of detail there for something 99% of people will never see. Yeah, that's what I've been most impressed with. That more or less kind of summarizes this cam hack playthrough for me. Is like, nobody is looking at this stuff. Very few people are looking at this stuff this closely. But because Bloober knows there are a lot of very detail-oriented, very thorough Silent Hill fans, like myself and many others, not just your average horror gamers, They knew people were going to be looking around at stuff, and they took the time to really include a lot of detail, some Easter eggs, some fun little references to other things in the series. So yeah, it's been really cool just going through, checking everything out and kind of finding that stuff. Definitely gives me a lot of appreciation for the artists for putting all this detail in all of these things. Rusted hammer. More cans with no bulbs. Hey, Warden of Horror. You're currently watching part 2 of the speedrunning all the Silent Hill games. Nice. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you've been enjoying that speed run from a few years back. I wish I still had the stamina and the health to do that again, but also include the new stuff that's come out since then. Short Message and this remake. And we'll continue pretending that Ascension doesn't exist. Not that you can really speedrun that in any kind of sense of the word anyway, but wouldn't include it just on principle. Hey, what's up, Ducky? Good to see you, ma'am. Hope you're doing well tonight. Welcome to the slowest slow play on the internet. Mostly unrendered closet there. Very dark. Very dark. You can see we got some bullets in there. I'm really curious if at any point they'll hide anything in some of these cabinets and stuff like that that you can't actually interact with. You can speedrun it by letting it play in the corner of an actual Silent Hill game on 5 times the speed. Didn't Bach do that? Didn't Bach Basoup do something like that? Where he was speedrunning other Silent Hill games and letting Ascension play in like a separate thing. I feel like I've seen somebody do that. It might have been Ecdysis. Ecdysis, another good friend of mine, who does many, many speedruns. That was Ecdysis? Yeah. Well, because there's already kind of a meme run in the Silent Hill community got a note, though. James in his note-reading pose. I kind of used this opportunity to check his model again as well. Still has that ooze on his hand from the door. I know there is something here. I know, I can feel it. It all looks normal, but it's not. It's underneath, pulsing, trying to get out. Is it trying to get out, or should I get in? I have to uncover it, rip it to the surface. Peel it off layer by layer so I can see it. I know it's there. Like seeing the little stains and burns and things on the paper a little bit more clearly as well. Peel it off layer by layers of fear. Similar, very, very similar to some of the layers of fear notes that you find on top of just being sort of generally creepy in a relatively vague way. Let fans kind of speculate on the meaning. But could be a slight nod to Layers of Fear. Could just be referencing sort of uncovering the truth by peeling away the delusion, James's delusion, kind of slowly breaking down and reality being revealed to him over the course of the game. Not a whole lot on that side. The ooze shows up as part of the static model. It's not showing it normally. No, it's there. It's always there. It's been stuck on his hand ever since he touched that door. And touching that door is optional. Reaching into the hole in the wall is necessary to get the button from the jukebox, but I don't think that leaves a lasting stain or anything, but touching the door does. I'll have to do a playthrough where we don't ever interact with that door. And see if that changes anything with the model. I mean, other than just not staining the hand, which I would assume. Okay, so that's it. A lot of times I can remember the rooms where the mannequins are, but I don't quite remember, like, times like this, I'm not sure what side. I'm still trying to memorize locations of enemies, and I think mannequins potentially are in different places when you play. Because they've got a few different, like, hiding places that they can run to. Depending on other variables, they might not always run to the same one. Power strip. No bulbs. Looks like plastic cutlery in the sink. Hammer and nails, pliers, wrench, somebody trying to fix the sink. Clearly unsuccessful. Kinda hate knowing just how easy details like the goopy hand is do. Getting deep into texturing makes everything less impressive these days. The execution of that effect is not the impressive part. The idea that Bloober Team cared enough to include something like that for an optional interaction and make it last this long is something that not a lot of games would do. Like, usually, especially with like modern games, usually you'll have your couple of different texture models, right? So you have like your default James, your combat James, your slightly injured James, your moderately injured James, your very injured James, and all of the blood and stuff on his jacket and pants and things like that that goes along with like certain states of health. Most game development would probably leave it at that. But a little extra effort to include some optional things that affect the character model and have more permanence than what I would expect, what a lot of people would probably expect, and what more than what most people would even bother looking at or probably notice, you know? It's like watching a magician and knowing all the tricks. Have you ever seen Penn and Teller's Fool Me? Just to kind of put that into perspective. You can be thoroughly impressed with how the trick is executed, even if you know exactly how it's done. The effort and the showmanship that goes along with it. It's not necessarily about being fooled and not knowing how it's done. It can be extremely impressive just the way that it has been executed. And that's what a lot of stuff here is. Like, the techniques are nothing especially new or groundbreaking. But this is a lot more effort than I would have expected, especially from Bloober Team. And it just shows how much thought and consideration went into a lot of things that many other developers would not have given that attention to. A broken BIM hood. It's like the vent from over the stove. And we actually looked at this, some of these little porch areas from the ground level. You can see some of them have some details on them, like this bike, this Drex hanging out over here. Hey, Rushmore. Seems much more like a passion project to them than just another job. Absolutely. They really did their research with a lot of the fan theory stuff that has been included and relatively obscure references to things, you know, making the Comic Sans Silent Hill Ranch sign like sitting on a pile of trash. Shows like they're aware of not just the HD collection and the changes that it made, but how fans received it. Like, because they are fans themselves. It's stuff that they are clearly aware of and wanted to include. Things that aren't just like direct references to lore accurate or game accurate, you know, assets and things. And then the stuff that they even include like that, like the Silent Hill 1 movies in VHS form. That is already a fairly obscure thing about Silent Hill 1 that not everybody knows about. And then to put it as a little Easter egg in the environment that you can't even examine unless you're doing a cam hack like this. I love that kind of stuff. Again, clearly they are not just saying that they're fans. It shows in their work, and I appreciate that. I was wrong. No, I wasn't, but I wasn't entirely right. I need to peel off more, something more blood close. I was looking outside, but it is in me. There's someone inside me. And Valtiel, no. See, and there's lots of ways, those kind of notes, like looking at it in terms of relevancy, you could apply that to James, his real self being sort of inside or behind his mask. The murderer, the person who was pushed to those lengths to do something so horrible and sort of push it out of his mind for an entirely different delusion. You could look at it in terms of Mary and Maria. Maria being born from Mary. You could look at it in terms, like you said, Valtiel, ancient oleander. And considering not too long ago in this area, we did find the Walter Sullivan note. The idea of, like, Valtiel being implanted into people like Walter, or the incubus being implanted into somebody like Alessa in Silent Hill 1. I've also seen some fans take it very literally as a reference to Angela being sexually abused by her father. But I don't think when they say there's someone in me, that's what they mean. But that's how some fans interpret it. Again, I don't think that's the case with these notes, but that's the point. They're vague enough and something that is just sort of there to be creepy, but there's a million different ways you can interpret it. For most people who are just going through, you're not even going to really think about it that much. They're just going to be like, that's creepy, and move on. At least I like to believe that's how a lot of people are going to interact with it. Then again, I've also watched a lot of people playing Silent Hill 2 casually, and it surprises me how many people still think they can play these games without reading anything. But that's a whole nother conversation. Like, people don't have attention spans anymore. So they see a note with like more than 6 words on it and their eyes just gloss over, they mash through it and run looking for the next thing to hit with a pipe or a shoot with a gun, or, you know, next puzzle to solve, the next more interactive part of the game, without realizing, like, those notes and the reading, it's kind of necessary for understanding. But again, not everybody plays games the same way. Not everybody plays these games to understand them. They just want a fun, creepy experience with like no desire to understand it better or piece the lore together. Cottons, high heat, permanent press, high heat, synthetic knits. All the little coin-operated laundry machines. The insides are rendered. Look at that. Highly detailed. Interior for the dryers. Yeah, those are the dryers, and then we got the washers over here. $2. $2 to wash your clothes. Probably another $2 to dry them. The Waxag washer. Cooltex 21, Cold Dash, a powerful dirt dissolvers. 4 powerful dirt dissolvers for a remarkably clean wash. You can see with these washers, there's actually stuff in them. Some clothes and things left behind. Again, surprising how much the interiors of these things are rendered. Like, look, this one's not even open. But there's clothing inside of it. The inside, like, wash drum is still there. None of that is necessary for this thing that you can't open or interact with by any normal means. And yet it's there. We've also got some more classic Silent Hill 2 OG graffiti. In the apartments, you can find the word dragon spray painted across the wall in the original. There's a lot of these graffiti assets and things that are just made for the remake that we've already kind of seen repeated in several places. But certain ones, like the dragon graffiti and the heavy viper graffiti, those are very specific to the original Silent Hill 2 environments. And we got our apple punch. Bloody apple. With natural flavors. Only 60 calories per punch. 10 6 full ounce pouches. That is not 10. That is 6 cans, not pouches. Were these originally like Capri Sun? Like juice pouches? Because in the original Silent Hill 2, it's basically this same asset, bloody apple, canned juice. Hero caps. Collect all 7 to complete the set. See inside the pack for details. I'll clip right into the pack. Probably not find those details. Oh. That's some, like, random text. It's supposed to be like another box of detergent or something. But it's authorized personnel only, backward, forward, security, the alphabet. It's like a typeset. Placeholder text. Mind the step. Can in the corner, no light bulbs. More cans, no light bulbs. Cans of green tea. Plenty of green tea around. Let's go inside the garbage chute. Okay, so the inside doesn't render until we interact with it. And look down. You can see it actually is like connected logically the way you would expect it. And there should be another duplicate can of juice here. Yeah, you can see the hero caps thing there that we found in a previous stream, where once you drop this, instead of moving this actual model and doing the animation and everything that goes with it, there's another one that's already in there set to do that after you interact. Shake them up. Make them all fizzy. I don't even know if it's carbonated. I just kind of wanted to see how he holds this, since we haven't really picked up anything like this where he holds it with both hands yet. Look at that determined face. Really wants that juice. Pondering my bloody apple juice. Is this Mary? Collected canned juice. I have my own little crazy fan theory about the juice. Dating back to the original game. It's stated that James, after dealing with Mary's illness, turned to alcohol to drown his sorrows. He examined some alcohol bottles in Heaven's Night in the original Silent Hill 2, and you get some internal monologue, some text, where James says that he drank to get away from the pain and the loneliness. And I kind of had an idea that at some point, maybe the juice was meant to be alcoholic. 6-pack of alcohol beer rather than juice. So that James is deliberately having to get rid of that crutch that he's been relying on. He has to throw it away in order to progress and proceed. That's entirely just my own little headcanon theory. There's nothing to insinuate that prop, that item, was ever anything but juice. My only reasoning for it is that canned juice is not as big in the United States as it is in some other places. It's still a thing that exists, but like, most people here, if they're gonna have apple juice, they usually have like a plastic bottle or like a big plastic jug, not like a 6-pack of aluminum cans. That's usually reserved for like sodas and beer more commonly here. So I was like, maybe that was like a 6-pack of beer or something originally. And that's the kind of thing that you might have to change. Ratings get very, very specific about having alcohol and stuff in your game. Like, there's entirely different categories for if it's just a prop in the environment, or if it's something you can pick up, or if it's something you can actually drink. And all of those things will affect your game's rating in different ways. So I was like, oh, maybe because it's something you physically pick up and put in your inventory, maybe they had to change it. Again, entirely headcanon. And this is why we had that other prop rigged up in there, because that one was keyed to that animation to drop down and have it fall out. Now let's zoom the camera down there so we can see this one. There's our coin. There's our can, now that it has been freed from its packaging, excuse me. No light bulbs in it. It's one of the wide mouth cans. So, again, assuming not that we should use things like this to assume when the game takes place, I'm old enough to remember most cans of things back in like the 90s and 80s, they didn't have this really wide tab opening. when you open them up. It was a lot more narrow. Can designs started changing. I think that might have been late 90s, maybe early 2000s, where they started adopting the wide mouth can with these sort of tabs. And then if you go back even further to like early 80s and 70s, you probably would still have a lot of the tab cans where the tab comes completely off. You like lift the tab up and you pull off a whole part of the can, rather than this little thing being there and keeping it on the can itself. Just saying, again, in terms of like things that existed in different time periods, wide mouth cans, these wide mouth opening cans were not as common back then. Hey Mazzy, analyzing can tabs? Heck yeah. That's where we're at. That's what we're doing today. We're collecting hero caps. And of course we've got our coin that fell out. And this one actually changed. So there are the same 3 coins as the original Silent Hill 2. And they do have the same images on the front and the back, where if you played on Silent Hill 2 OG, if you finish all of the other, easy, normal, hard riddle, you would unlock an extra riddle that was even harder. And that allowed you, for the coin puzzle in the original, to flip the coins over, because the design on the back was also part of the solution for solving them. But I mentioned the writing around the edges of the coins, how that's an Easter egg. So this one, it's using the same writing as the other 2 coins that we picked up. So this is the Tsugiwa Eiichi, which is a reference to Eiichi Ito, the item designer from Silent Hill 2 OG. But Tsugiwa Eiichi Toshiko Rinta Asuma Zate. So that was a different Easter egg in the original Silent Hill 2. Instead, it was a coded message, coded the same way, using Japanese translated to English, and then English typed out in symbol font. Oh. And clip in. Nothing in there. No cat. Yeah, that definitely feels very Silent Hill 1 cat in the locker kind of moment there. But, yeah, there was a different Easter egg on the coin in the original. It was instead a message about one of the people on the dev team who had a son. The coded message was, Tatsuki ga kyonen no junigatsu ni umaremashita. Tatsuki was born in December of last year. Translated phonetically to English and then typed out in symbol font and written around the edge of that coin. So, unfortunately, Tatsuki's Easter egg has been removed from the remake. But also, Tatsuki would be a full-grown man today. I wonder if Tatsuki even knows about the Easter egg. Okay, that's everything. Get our third and final coin. Save so we don't anger the game crash gods. Opens up this little area. I don't think there's anything to yeah. Those that don't open, we're just back out to the courtyard. Did the trash chute leave any residue on James's hand? No, I don't think so. Still just have that ooze from the door in Saul Street Apartments. Nothing on his hands after the trash chute. We're in our coin staring pose, as is tradition. Now we get to see the front of it. Again, still no Totski Easter egg. You can see the prisoner coin. The coin woman. They also call the coins different things compared to the original. A large coin imprinted with an image of a young woman. There's an image of a gravestone on the reverse side. This was referred to as the prisoner coin in the original Silent Hill 2. The snake coin, a large coin imprinted with a snake. The reverse depicts a flower. And the old man coin is how this was referred to in the OG. A large coin imprinted with the face of a man. On the reverse side, there's an image of a sword. Ooh, my perspective. I like that, how that changes how much of the actual puzzle you see too. Look at that. It's too far. Three bright coins, three actors in play, and under the tree the maiden dared lay. And behind the maiden, where she would not know, with no one nearby, a flower would grow. And then came the man, so gallant and fine, in the pale moonlight did his golden eyes shine. So maiden under the tree, flower behind the maiden, man in the moonlight. Under the tree, man under moonlight, snake coin flipped. So let's back out. Now that this is rotated around, because you can see it's actually like a physical rendered prop. They don't just swap out this front plate with new text. Again, that's a little bit of visual trickery that you could do from the perspective, because you're at like a set perspective when you're looking at this. So they didn't have to make this like logically, physically make sense. They could have made it where just the text swaps out with a slight animation, but no, you can see the text for like each part rotates around. The man drew his blade, and she froze in fear, for she did not know the serpent drew near. So man, switch to sword. Flower, switch to snake. Rotate again. So again, you can see text whole thing just like rotates around here. It's like a practical physical prop. Could be made the same way. Also, if you clip inside, oh, look at that. We can see the pattern on the front, the reverse sides of the coins themselves, and the key in the drawer that's going to pop out when we finish solving it. Love that the key is visible. Is the mirror above hiding a painting? Does not appear so. Worth checking. The venomous beast is now lost to the night. The grand chevalier's grand despair in daylight. And under the tree where the maiden dared lay, a memory now lies, confined to a grave. So, snake under the moon. Man in the daylight. Grave under the tree. The beast who its teeth in her flesh doth bore, he who has failed, she who is no more. Now you pass the judgment on figures of play. Which here is the sinner? Which carries the blame? I kind of like this part of the puzzle because you really do kind of think about it still in the terms of the previous segments of the puzzle, but this is entirely your choice. You can pick any coin and place it, and it will still give you the key. And the coin that you choose actually counts towards what ending you could potentially get. So, kind of a little subtle choice that you're making here as the player, depending on which coin you pick, is going to affect your ending and kind of put you a little bit more on the Maria ending, I think, if you pick the woman coin. The in water ending, I think, if you pick the man. Let me double check. I know I've got that in my notes. So yeah, choosing the snake coin leads towards more towards a Maria ending. The woman coin is for leave. Then the man coin is for in water. See ya, fart face. Irimi, thank you so much for the 78 months. Very, very much appreciate that. Through them all you shined so bright, like the amulet of kings. So happy we got Oblivion Remake and new Young Scrolls. At some point I'll get the the Oblivion Remake. Admittedly, I haven't played Oblivion in forever. Be a fun excuse to revisit it. Here's our 201 key. And you can see very faintly the image of the tree is on it. Same tree. It's part of the puzzle. Same design is on that tag. Trying to see the underside of it. Because, yeah, the default view really can't... You really can't tell. Even in the item descriptions and stuff itself, it does tell you. A key with a decorative key ring depicting a tree. But outside of that description, it's very hard to actually, like, see it. Been playing Daggerfall Unity recently. Have you ever tried it? No. I think I have it. Because if I remember correctly, that's through GOG. That's through Good Old Games, or that's one way to play it. I think I have it. I've just never played it. I've played, like, Daggerfall OG back in the day, but... Not the Unity version. Save it again. Never know if crashing is gonna happen. Going up for 201. Hey, got control. There's door 201. Same emblem of the tree. Matching the key, matching the coin puzzle desk. Get in there so close we can see the tumblers. That puts us here. Finally in this room when we're supposed to be. And for anybody who missed this during the last stream, we've already clipped the camera into this room and looked at a few of these details, but this room is especially significant, so I wanted to show it earlier, and I don't mind talking about it again. But yeah, this is a recreation of James and Mary's home. This apartment, specifically this room, is the exact same room that you see in the endings, where James picks up Mary's body. They have kind of that final conversation. This is the room that Mary would have died in, where James was taking care of her, however much time between her coming home from the hospital and James killing her. And you can see some of the details in the photos if you zoom in very close. You can see that's a photo of the two of them together in Rosewater Park. James still wearing those boots. Mary's dress. and make out little parts of it, little details. When you zoom way in, you can see their faces behind all the stains and everything else on them. And this photo, which is the Lakeview Hotel in all of its glory. Also, the stains are different. If you look at the way this stain, like the way this is colored and shaped, versus the one on the hotel, look at these lighter edges and stuff, like it's fire. The Lakeview Hotel burned down in between the time that James and Mary were there and now that James has come back to the town. The hotel has burned down, and we're actually faintly seeing the fire on it. It's not just a stain hiding the image. We're seeing the flames faintly too. That's a really cool detail. Yeah, it's kind of a combination of fire and water damage, which is exactly what you experience when the hotel reverts to its actual state rather than James's delusion of it. Really, really cool. The new real hotel sequence was breathtaking. I was amazed when I first saw it. Oh, I really like what they did with the hotel, and they have it gradually. Like, it doesn't just change all at once after you watch the tape like it does in the OG. Oh, there's also little blood drips in the sink, like somebody having a nosebleed or something, bleeding faintly over the sink. We've looked at the other sinks and they don't all have this detail. Mary coughing, yeah, potentially coughing up blood. But yeah, as you progress through the hotel in the remake, they like gradually change it from the perfect hotel the same way James remembers it from 3 years ago to the burned, water damaged actual version of it. Clean your toilet, James. Get some toilet paper. Not all water damaged. Pair of birds. Love birds. Hey, Blood Countess. I have a question. Is Mary related to the shepherds from Silent Hill Homecoming? It's not confirmed. So the first key thing to remember is that everything after Silent Hill 4 was made by completely different teams of people. They weren't necessarily trying to keep all of those details and bits of lore like consistent. And in terms of like what they tell you in game in Homecoming, it's never even brought up. There is a supplementary set of diaries for Silent Hill Homecoming, and in one of those diaries where Alex is like looking over things. You get a little tiny thing from Alex's point of view where he's like, huh, Shepherd, I wonder if she's a distant relative. And that's like it. It's just Alex wondering if that's the case because they share that name. But no, it's never confirmed one way or another if they're actually related. Nor is it especially relevant. Not to mention, if you start really trying to break down the logic of anything related to Homecoming, it falls apart pretty fast. Because it's Homecoming. It's not exactly the most well-written game in the series. It's got, don't get me wrong, there's things in Homecoming that I do think are interesting. But yeah, in terms of lore consistency and like, there's a lot of plot holes. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. And specifically, if you think about family members, right? In Shepherd's Glen, the town that has very, very strict, specific rules about the families and the founding families who are tied to Shepherd's Glen. And they've had that established for at least 150 years during the time of Homecoming. So it's extremely unlikely that, like, Mary would have been from Shepherd's Glen, because otherwise she wouldn't have left Shepherd's Glen if she was actually involved with that family. Not only that, but it would be extremely unlikely that even if she did break away from that, let's say, you know, escaped the town, married James to change her name, etc., etc., she would have lived right on the other side of Toluca Lake. And they make a big deal about going on vacation to Silent Hill. Like, you wouldn't really make a big deal about taking a vacation to a place that is on the other side of a lake from where you lived or grew up, would you? But there's a lot of stuff like that. It's just kind of a harmless nod to Mary's character. I don't think it's meant to be a deliberate connection. And again, even the game and the supplementary materials themselves do not confirm that as like canon or fact or anything. I believe this series of paintings is again an actual artwork. Didn't the cult's god say himself that you carry the one generation, drop the second, hand wave a few rules, and then it just sort of works itself out? Sorry, herself, the god, cult's god is female. There is no one singular cult's god. The cult is separated into different sects, and each sect has different things that they believe in. You have two believe in a female referred to god, the sect of the Holy Mother. Basically the ones who follow Alessa, essentially your Silent Hill 3 cult. But then you also have the sect of Valtiel, which is referenced in Silent Hill 4. You have notes in Silent Hill Homecoming that are specifically written about the god that say, in his name so shall it be. They refer to the god in Homecoming as male. So they are clearly descended from one of the separatist factions of the order that didn't follow the Holy Mother or Saint Alessa. But again, it's Homecoming. Like, shout outs to Patrick Duty, the one of the lead writers for Homecoming. But he's actually done some podcasts, and he's pretty active on social media. He's had a few conversations with me on like Twitter and Blue Sky, and clarified details and things about the story that I've asked him. So he's a cool guy, really good writer, but Homecoming, not one of his best works. And it's one of those things where he also said a lot of the things they originally wrote for the game wound up getting scrapped or changed or, very heavily altered by the time the game came out by other people. So I don't worry too much about the connections between like Silent Hill 2 and Homecoming. Mary's handkerchief, her blood-stained handkerchief. We get the ominous rumble as we approach the door. Painting down there. Notice the bird motif? Absolutely. Like, there's many references to birds in the recreation of their home. There's many representations of flowers and floral patterns in reference to Mary. We even get a bird puzzle with a mutilated, like, messed up looking bird, kind of referencing Mary's appearance as her condition worsened. That's going to be coming up in Blue Creek Apartments. Honestly, I'm all for making every Silent Hill work together, even the bad ones. Mental gymnastics are far more fun than dismissing stuff, even if it's all a huge stretch. I would agree with you, except that I've played Book of Memories, and trust me, it stops being as much fun when you get into some of the stupider entries in the series. Because if you play Book of Memories, every question that you can possibly have about Silent Hill is answered by the same answer. It's that way because somebody wrote it to be that way and altered reality using a Book of Memories at some point. There are notes in Book of Memories that specifically single out every single game in the series and attribute that game happening because somebody wrote about it in a Book of Memories at some point. Claudia wrote in a Book of Memories, so Silent Hill 3 happened. James wrote in a Book of Memories, so Silent Hill 2 happened. So on and so forth. So, like, I understand if you have fun doing those kind of mental gymnastics, but if you're going to include everything, it's not even just mental gymnastics. It's boring. It's boring because at that point there is no further speculation if you take everything into account. So it's fun trying to make like the little references to each other sort of make sense in some of the more main series games, I guess. But yeah, that's not how I view the series. Admittedly, there was a time, again, maybe this comes from experience, because I see a lot of other fans think that way and sort of go through all the same motions that I myself went through many years ago, playing like Origins and Homecoming as they released, as they came out, and still trying to respect them as full entries in the series and how they connect the lore and all of that. I was that fan. I was like you once. But I'm, as somebody who continued playing these games constantly and researching them constantly, I've very, very much changed how I think about the games individually and overall as a series a lot over the years of further research and experience. And after a certain point, you kind of just have to accept reality. These games were not made to connect. They weren't written as some big, massive, genius, overarching story. They were written one at a time, one after another. So, and oftentimes by completely different people, even among Team Silent. So things are not made to make sense and connect in a lot of the ways that fans really want them to. And I get that that in its own way is also sort of like not satisfying, but I don't know. It gives me a lot more appreciation for the titles individually and the few things that connect that, like you said, certain things you can pick up and connect, and it's a satisfying sort of click in your brain. There's a lot of stuff like that in Silent Hill 3 where they retroactively gave meaning to relatively insignificant things. Like Silent Hill 1, you go into a classroom. There's some playing cards scattered on a table. One of them has a key on it, and you use it to open a door. Silent Hill 3 introduces playing cards in Alessa's bedroom, and Heather examines them and says that she used to play cards with Claudia as Alessa when they were young, and that Claudia would always cry whenever she lost. So suddenly there's that connection there, and there's significance to these otherwise insignificant cards from Silent Hill 1. 3 retroactively, like after the fact, gave it meaning. And there's lots of things like that. But it wasn't written like that was not Owaku's intention when writing, or Toyama's intention when coming up with those aspects and details of Silent Hill 1. They weren't thinking about Heather. They weren't thinking about that sort of continuation because they were just writing a standalone game. It's cool to see how they expand on it and how they reference it in the sequels. But to think that it's all like specifically written out to make any kind of logical sense ahead of time, that's just not how these games were made. That's not how most games are made. Not just games either. That's fiction in most, in most scenarios. It's like people who really love Star Wars and try to connect all of those movies. You really think Lucas had like 9 fucking movies all plotted and planned out and written ahead of time in his head to connect and make sense and everything perfectly with a perfect timeline and all of these characters and stuff? No. He made one successful thing, made a bunch of money, decided to make more, and expanded on ideas that he already had. Moist and delicious, perfect taste, pound cake, strawberry swirl. Made with real strawberries. Some cookie. Some butter cake. he always intended the prequels, but never had them hammered out until later. I knew I shouldn't have mentioned Star Wars. I blame chat. I blame chat for the argument I'm going to have with my wife later. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, chat. Hey, we got another significant photo here in James and Mary's recreated home. We've got the gazebo at the end of the dock in Rosewater Park. There's even a faint, shadowy silhouette. Wonder who or what that could be. It's the exact spot where we meet Maria. Same newspapers. That looks a lot like Derwentwater, aka Toluca Lake. So in the original Silent Hill 2, they used photos of a lake called Derwentwater, located in Keswick, in England. In order to create the textures of Toluca that you see from the observation deck. This sort of looks like a painted recreation of the that perspective of Derwentwater. Why are the sockets upside down? American electrical sockets? I mean, this is a real thing. It depends on how your building is wired. But you don't always have your sockets one way or the other. It's more common to have them upside down from this perspective. This is more common. But I've seen plenty of houses where they're installed like this. Got another clock, 10 past 9. Painting of flowers in a vase. Again, very common recurring visuals with a lot of the things in James and Mary's home. The flowers, the birds. We've got the lighthouse. Possibly the lighthouse in Silent Hill. We got a deer. It does look a lot like Henry's photograph of the lighthouse from Silent Hill 4. Because Henry mentions that he's been to Silent Hill and he's a photographer and he took pictures while he was there. He has a photo of the lighthouse in his bedroom. But we pointed that out on a previous part of this playthrough. Oh, is that like a little monster thing? Oh, it's a wolf. You have a wolf over in the shadows looking at the deer. Yeah, that is also some imagery that comes up a little bit later. Laura is depicting her and Mary as rabbits in all of her drawings, and she depicts James as a dog or a wolf. Particular radio. We'll actually see this one again in the Blue Creek apartments, hanging from a cage. Very similar to what they do in old mental asylums. Their power strip under the desk. How many things they got plugged in here? It's like got 4 different plugs. I see lamp. Phone is just gonna be like also no cable for the phone. No landline. But then again, this is not like literally their home. In fact, it might look completely different, almost certainly looks completely different in reality. This is part of James's delusion that this apartment appears to be a recreation of his own home. He also doesn't comment on it. He doesn't seem to even necessarily be aware of it. The same way he doesn't comment or doesn't seem to be aware of the corpses that resemble him. Closet where James is gonna hide. A really small, really narrow closet. We're hiding from James. He knows you're here, chat. All right. Let's try zooming this perspective out and see how that affects this cutscene. Okay. I like the wider view. We kind of get to see where they're switching out like the different pyramid head models with the animations, some of the slightly off camera stuff they do to make those scenes work. Just getting a little different perspective on these cutscenes. Temporal Fry, you said first seeing him just shrug off the bullets in this version made me giddy. I really like that. I like the change of having Pyramid Head just completely no sell the gunshots rather than reacting to them and just kind of seeming, he moves in the original. He's still like unfazed, but he's like reacting to them. This one, like the complete lack of reaction, really emphasizes Pyramid Head does not care. No shells on the floor, from what I can see. Just a little broken part. The slats on the door. My staring at handkerchief pose. No fancy finger. We still have ooze on the hand. You can see the other side. This asset a bit more clearly. Those same continuing blood stains. Right up into them fibers. And because this transition is a cutscene... Ooh. I was gonna say I doubt there's anything rendered. But... Oh, look at that. There's the Otherworld. There's the Otherworld version. Blue Creek. Which is just mirroring the room that we're in right now. It actually is rendered in. It's not lined up because they do that alignment through the transition. Ooh. There's all sorts of stuff rendered in before we get into Blue Creek. The ammo and stuff is all there. The chains holding up the radio in the cage. The radio itself. The part of the catwalk that lowers. The valve and the chains connected. That's wild. I wouldn't expect any of this stuff to be here. So this is why the game has loading issues. This is definitely part of it. As much as I appreciate a lot of these assets, they do have a lot of things loaded in and rendered in, even if it's untextured or low poly. That's kind of unnecessary. Wow, that looks crazy with all the like floating pictures and paintings and things in the void. Mysterious photograph. Forever together in room 208. Save point. Bird head. For that upcoming bird puzzle. That's cool. It's way up here. Swimming pool? Oh yeah, I know where that is. I know that area. It's that little part outside of the window that you run through near the wait. No, it is just the little courtyard pool, isn't it? Oop. So much of this stuff. Yeah, just cool to see how much stuff around there is and how they sort of render things in before we've even gone through here. Again, we get a cutscene here. You can hide so much of that transition and rendering in this. It seems unnecessary to have all that there. So now James is just teleported down into this room from where we were. So if we go out here and go up, is the old apartment. Oh no, we're... So that rearranges... So everything does rearrange after you teleport here. It renders all of that stuff in a different way. Because now there's the body of the swan that we're going to get. Bird puzzle. Table's not rendered, but the actual puzzle parts are. Interesting. So now, after going through this very particular looking door, we're essentially in the Otherworld version. They handle the apartments very differently in this game. Because, like, original Silent Hill 2, there's not really, like, a major distinction between Woodside Apartments and Blue Creek Apartments. Like, James is like, oh, the fire escape has been knocked out when they built the building right next to Woodside. They probably knocked it out. He goes through the window, and then you're in Blue Creek. Here, in the remake, they treat Blue Creek like an otherworld version of Woodside. You can see this is the exact same room that we were in where Pyramid had attacked us. Just mirrored. It's flipped around. And you kind of get this implication, rather than Pyramid Head just kind of getting shot and then taking his mannequin and going off on his own way. In this version, he actually slashed through it. Empty drawers and cabinets that make you check them anyway. Bloober team loves that shit. It's one of the things that frustrated me a lot with their Layers of Fear games. Lots of environmental interactive stuff that there's just nothing. There's just nothing. Typical Silent Hill moment, either you get locked doors or nothing in the drawers. Nothing in the drawers is not a Silent Hill thing. That's a Bloober Team thing. Locked doors, or correction, jammed doors that absolutely cannot be opened, as opposed to locked doors, which you'll unlock at some point. Like, that's a pretty staple Silent Hill trope. But not like, here is something for you to examine, specifically with like an icon telling you to examine it, only to have nothing in it to waste your time. That is not a Silent Hill trope. That's a Bloober Team trope. Not really something that's in the other games. Look at all these light bulb models. I can't wait for them to hide some of those in a can. Did you notice that he has no knife until James gets the knife from Angela? You know, it's a bit of an interesting thing with stuff like that, because as a fan, I've noticed those kind of details before, and I know a lot of other fans who have pointed that kind of stuff out. But then you also have, like, the original artist, Masahiro Ito, saying it's not a knife at all. It's one half of a pair of scissors. That James was meant to find and use the other half, but it was something that he didn't have time to model separately. And if there's that much attention to detail to Pyramid Head's weaponry, I feel like if it was meant to connect more to Angela's knife, it would have resembled Angela's knife. But still a fun thing to think about. You also still have that, like, you give up the knife Do you give up the knife? Angela doesn't take it back from James on the stairs. She asks for it back. James refuses. So James doesn't give that knife back. And yet Pyramid Head gives up the knife for Spears in the final confrontation. So not trying to, like, shoot down your theory or your connection, but might not necessarily be connected in that way. Fun to speculate on, though. He gets his spear by the hospital end? Yeah. The first time he has the spear is in the hallway chase sequence with Maria. The barbershop sign is missing half the scissors? No, it's a full pair of scissors. It's the same general shape of the great knife. Like, it's very distinguishable. But it is just a full pair. The picture we're looking at, it kind of reminds me of a cutout of Misty Day. This one? I mean, you do have the general sort of pyramid shape, triangular shape right here, where Pyramid Head in the Misty Day painting would be standing. Would be interesting to take some screenshots of all of these and overlay them with all of the historical society paintings and see how they line up, if they line up. So in another 6 to 8 weeks, when we get to the Historical Society, we'll compare. Now that's a Silent Hill toilet. It's not the Silent Hill toilet. James is not quite ready to start plunging his hand in. There is a cool detail that we'll be able to see much easier with the free cam when we get to that toilet, though. Textured, like, stained wood and stuff behind this mirror. Okay, so the paintings, the ripped up paintings appear to be reused. This is the same as the other one, isn't it? That looks like Misty Day. Just rotated sideways. Yeah. So there's like a few different variations. Yeah, the big one there is the same as this one here. So there are just a few of those textures that seem to be repeated. Doesn't mean they are not still potentially significant. But I try to note whenever things are unique or reused assets, because a lot of times that can indicate something of more importance or significance. Man, I love the ambient audio in this area. Nothing being rendered outside of the windows except for a particle effect. Ooh. Peek at James outside. Light mode. It's like he has a mustache. Again, I love just sort of using the cam mod, not just for exploration, but as like a photo mode, just to get some neat shots and perspective of things. There are Blue Creek apartment maps. Again, kind of an interesting twist on things that Bluebird did with the apartments, making Blue Creek somewhat of like a mirrored version of Woodside, instead of just being its own unique location. Are they classic Blue Creek apartment maps or are they new? They're new. Blue Creek is treated as a completely different area in the remake. It's the other world Woodside. Got a new variation on the lying figures now. The size of that droplet. Just trying to get a good shot. I'll have plenty more opportunities. as they explode and puke. $207. Nothing rendered in here, but we can see many other things in the building that are rendered. Just floating lamps and windows. There's a light all the way over here. Cool. Don't forget to check for Mary's silhouette when we get to the clock. Of course. That was one thing that I was constantly trying to check during the story playthrough a little over a month ago. But now that we can, like, freeze the game and zoom around and look at stuff, we might have a better chance to see it, and then clip through the window, see if Mary is actually there. Wouldn't that be something? If Mary's model is actually there, if it's not just a silhouette texture or mannequin or anything like that. I love that we get the radio going off through walls and doors, just kind of implying what's going to be around. I love the sort of clicking, almost sounds like low fidelity breathing sounds in the radio sound effect now. Very much reminds me of PT. Some of the sounds that Lisa in PT would make when she's near you. Mannequin running and playing hide and seek. I like how you see it move through here too. It's going through the door there. Rounding the corner here. Also got another one of the lying figure variations, just kind of standing around in the kitchen. Like little scrap pieces of tape and stuff on it. But then the legs are much more human looking. Even in the, like, skin texture. Little bit of the shoulder kind of exposed through the tape. What could the change in appearance symbolize? The new details. What could they say about James or Mary? Like, in the enemies? I mean, so there's a couple different ways to approach questions like that, right? From strictly a game design standpoint, looking at the same enemy model over and over gets boring. You want to vary it up. You want it to look different. You don't want them all to look exactly the same, just kind of copied and pasted, especially for this remake where they've really padded out the length of the game with a lot of enemy interactions, combat, things like that. So it would stand out a lot more than it did in the original. I mean, for 2001, games were just like that, you know. You were lucky to get multiple different kind of monsters and models, if at all. More of a technical limitation than anything. So strictly from a game design standpoint, you want monsters to look different. You don't want them to all look exactly the same every time you encounter them. Beyond that, if you want to try and affix any kind of meaning or anything to them, that's entirely up to your interpretation. The main theme that I always try to keep in mind with Silent Hill 2 is that James is gradually fighting out of his delusion. That he's getting further and further away from abstract and obscure and blocking out the truth, and getting closer and closer to what actually happened, killing his wife Mary. Accepting how she was during her illness, how she looked. So you've got Mary's condition worsening over time. That could be potentially reflected in the enemy designs getting sort of grosser or having more visible afflictions on them. But also more human aspects, showing that James is getting further away from his delusion and more in line with killing a person, killing Mary, kind of forcing him to think about that. Visually having the idea sort of projected. But yeah, personally, I lean more towards it's mostly a game design thing. And when you have somebody like Masahiro Ito there to help you with monster designs, and he wants to give you a few different designs, there are also different variations of different concept art that Ito did. Cat Link, thank you so much for the raid, Cat. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm Nub Zombie, super obsessed Silent Hill and horror fan. And we are currently making our way through a cam-hacked playthrough of Silent Hill 2 Remake. Looking at all these little details in the environments. These chocolate chip cookies and macchiati. We're literally looking at all the little details, everything in the environments. This is day 6, and we're barely like halfway through the apartments. Very slow, very methodical, looking at many, many details, looking out of bounds for Easter eggs, which we've already found several. So if that sounds like a fun time to you, get comfy. Yeah, thank you so much, Kat. Hope you're doing well. What were you up to today? And yeah, shoutouts to Kat. If none of you are following Kat Link, she's absolutely awesome. Very talented speedrunner, fellow horror fan. There we go. Now we can look at this effect a little bit more in depth. All the little goo droplets, all the little individual goo droplets coming out during that. Oh, that still got me? That still got me? Oh, the mannequins. Little variations on them now as well. This one has one of those, like, valves, like air valves, similar to parts of Pyramid Head. Yeah, Pyramid Head in the remake has a very similar looking metal valve on his helmet. A couple of them, one on the helmet and one on the bag, like the padding on the back part of his helmet. So now the mannequins have that as well. We've seen lots of cans and boxes and stuff for Makia tea. I don't think we've seen actual tea bags like these, though, in the environments yet. Little patterns and things on the cups. Clip into all the cabinets to see if there's anything hiding. We're looking inside all of the metal tins and jars and cans to see if they're hiding any light bulbs. No light bulbs in cans yet. There was canned light bulbs as part of a puzzle in the original Silent Hill 2. And I refuse to believe that the remake would not reference that in some way. You don't find any references to it in the gameplay normally. And considering some of the other subtle references and things we found so far, at this point, I would be very surprised. I feel like it's going to be one particular can when we get to the hotel. That one particular can is going to be the one with the bulbs. But I'm still curious to check everything. Oh yeah, and of course, here's James. Here is James. We can get right in there. We can even see the reflection of the environment in his eyeballs. When I talk about looking at all the details, there's a lot. Also his gun. It's a blue Betta. It's not a Beretta. It's a 9mm. But it's a blue Betta by Bloober Team. Love stuff like that. There's a lot of little instances where Bloober Team has kind of hidden their name, and lots of Polish and Poland references. Because Bloober Team is based out of Poland. So there's like old Polish whiskey everywhere. There's boxes of Polish dumplings in a lot of places. You think the cord is cut? I mean, there's a cord there, but it just kind of clips through the wall. Once I clip out of the wall, it doesn't seem to be rendered there. Don't think that's an intentional thing. I think that's just an asset clipping through the wall. But there is at least a cord. When we checked the phone in Woodside, in the room that's a recreation of James and Mary's, there was no cord at all. So strange that this one has it. Also, God, just all the detail, the little like dings and scuffs and places where the paint is like bubbled up. Worn out numbers on the keypad. Yeah, I've been very thoroughly impressed with this game, with all of the details, attention to detail in the environments. The inside of the flower jar is moldy. Like, here is the default camera angle. You can barely even tell what's in that cabinet, let alone, like, look down inside of it normally. And they rendered the mold in the bottom of the fucking jar. And all the little dings and flecks and stuff on the inside. Like, that type of stuff is insane. It's insane to me that there would be that much attention to detail on a lot of these assets. Things that are put into the background that, like, most people are not looking at. Let alone this closely. Most people are just going to kill these things and run right through this room. Not us. Not me. Big Boy Jones. Thank you so much for the raid, Big Boy Jones. Welcome, welcome. Make yourself comfy. We're looking at details in the environments. Silent Hill 2 Remake. Such as this dog. I think there was another... We saw this dog picture somewhere else too, in a previous part. Pretty sure it's just an object someone created and they didn't know how it would be used. I mean, even then, even with that in mind, not everything is done that way. Like, there's plenty of assets What the hell is that face? Who's this hiding on the shelf? What is that? Sorry. My train of thought has been broken. Because there's a face hiding. There's a face hiding. Who is she? Yeah, there was also butterflies. I saw that. Ow, what is this? And sorry, the camera movement itself is like somewhat hard to control. It's not. I don't have like super fine movement or control over it. I barely tap a key and kind of like flies in that direction for a moment. But see, this is exactly the kind of stuff I'm doing this for. I'm trying to see all these weird little things. And that is definitely something we haven't seen in this game yet. And for all I know, might only be right here. Yeah, there's the butterfly. Good shot of the butterfly on the box itself. See, these books and textures, covers, we've seen all of these before. And they don't have that face on them. We've seen the little bronze deer statue, some other spots. We've seen the football in some other spots, specifically around Eddie. John Madden. Huck'em chuck'em football. Yeah, same kind of book covers and textures that we've seen repeated a few times. That's something different? UFO ending? Not sure what that is. God, it's so dark. Aziz, light. Much better. Thank you, Aziz. Dev team staying silly. I mean, Bloober put in a jab at the HD collection. That's one of the first out of bounds Easter eggs in this game. So, like, they definitely have not only attention to detail, but kind of a sense of humor about a lot of the things that they hide and include in the stuff that we've seen so far. And again, I'm still just impressed with like the level of detail on a lot of these textures. Like, look at the cracks in the leather and the like non-uniform stitching. Places where it's faded, where the like boots have been oiled and then dried out. For just a random thing sitting on the floor in a corner of a room that nobody's gonna like really pay attention to. All the paintings and pictures on the walls are like very distorted. Oh yeah, here's a good one for everyone who may have came in with Cat Link and Big Boy Jones that we've seen on our previous playthroughs. So even something kind of mundane like the vacuum, you zoom in and you start looking at it. 666 Made in Hell. It's got like a bull skull on it. The cleaning lux with edge brushing. My finger points. The boob light? I'm glad I'm not the only one who refers to these as boob lights. I was gonna look at it, I was gonna say something, I was ready to walk out of the room. Oleander, you just had to bring it up. So here we go. Here's the video getting demonetized. Thanks a lot. No light bulbs inside either. Well, there's actually... Oh, because... Yeah, this will be a thing that I think you can push out of the way. Is this one of those shelves? No? Is this just junk? No, it's just junk blocking the door. Well, there's a good shot. Mannequin watching TV. With your weird little valve. Your shiny, shiny stumps. Nice tippy toes pose. They do ballet. Yeah, here's Moth Room. Definitely gonna have some stuff to look at in here. Technically, we don't have the key to get in there, but We're using a free cam. We can do whatever we want. Mothra. I mean Mothroom. Masura yo. And here's like the most obvious one when it comes to the moths. The Death's Head moth. Most people familiar with it from Silence of the Lambs. Locomo says Deathhead's moths are seen as so creepy and cool, but they make the cutest squeaky noises. I've never seen one in person or heard it squeak. I do like the way that they've got the moths and things presented as specimens, like pinned to the different boards and things. A little bit of a callback to Silent Hill 1 and Alessa, who collected butterflies and moths and displayed them similarly in her bedroom. Got a Monsterizer blender. We have the burner coil clipping through the bottom of the pot. I thought there was like something in it. It's just those textures, these little coils clipping through. Like it's an Uzumaki reference. Junji Ito fans. See the moths behind this before moving it and everything else to solve this room. Alright, we'll come back to the moth room. I could just clip James right in there. Oh, there he goes. Marked it on his map. But I'm trying not to sequence break too many things during this playthrough. I'm trying to resist that urge, because there's been a few questionable spots where the game really doesn't like it and starts threatening to crash. Other side of that one, that part of the moth room. Just kind of see where it connects. This room. This is the original boss fight room. in the original Silent Hill 2, where you first fight Pyramid Head at the end of the apartments. They change all this up for the remake. They give you a much bigger fight and arena, but they still include this area in the layout. They even give you a little glimpse of the past moment when you're backtracking through here. But yeah, in the original Silent Hill 2, this would be the door out of Blue Creek. This would lead outside. You fight Pyramid Head up here, and then the siren goes off. He starts walking downstairs into the water. This whole thing is filled with water in the original. And you can see, yeah, all the staircase is still like wet, as though that water was here still at some point. Like moss and algae like growing on all the handrails. But yeah, in the original, Pyramid Head walks down here, walks out this way. This would be the outside of the apartment building. But everything is laid out differently now. Oh, this is a cool little detail. So we've got all these covered mannequins kind of sitting back in this area. That one's even kind of posed with its leg like a mannequin enemy. This one kind of has this top part bunched up the way the lying figures are. It's like very similar silhouettes to the enemies that you've been fighting so far. Kind of similar to the nurses that we'll see in Brookhaven a bit later. Some slight foreshadowing to that. Was a great jump scare? They don't even really do a jump scare so much with it. But as you progressively backtrack and go past this room, the mannequins are all in slightly different places. If you're paying attention, it's creepy. But a lot of people, I'm sure, just ran right past it and didn't notice. But yeah, as you go back and forth out of this room and progress through the apartments, all these mannequins will be closer and closer to the fence here. You know what? Just because we can, I'm gonna clip James in. They have collision. It's even got the wrapped feet like a mannequin. Mannequin enemy. They've got the heel shape like the nurses. Weeping Angels vibes, yeah. Don't blink. Knickknacks. Dishes hiding in the cupboards. Pots and pans. Which reminds me, I need to Fix dinner soon. No labels, nothing legible. Note there is. It's bourbon. There it is. Bottle of bourbon. What's for dinner? Some homemade fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and zipper peas. With some homemade dewberry cobbler for dessert. I freshly picked the dewberries out of our backyard this morning and made a cobbler this afternoon. So that's going to be our dessert. Henry, Mildred, and Scott. Reference to the clock puzzle in the original Silent Hill 2. You can clip under the sheet and see the clock itself. Yep. There's a mood. Even all the little inner workings of the clock. Rotary phone. We can read the note. I love that you can read all the notes without picking them up. Just seeing all the little details on the papers themselves. Henry takes one step, steady as his pace. Mildred hurries past, sleek and full of grace. But then here comes Scott, bound to win the race. Is this the silhouette room? I think that's the silhouette room. For now, nothing here, but I like that the effect is literally just a lamp. The effect to make this illuminated, they just stuck a lamp on the other side of it. I love our floating light fixtures. Just like the little corner part of these storage boxes. Nothing actually in them. Nothing rendered in there. Got one of the few things that's not just completely distorted and smudged. Looking out of a window. Mary's perspective from the silhouette window, maybe? Another copy of New Damnation. Looks like a hedge, which would be a little bit more in line with maybe Lakeview Hotel. The boss arena down here where we're going to eventually fight Pyramid Head. All the cages and everything, very similar to the Misty Day painting of Pyramid Head. Gotta try shooting these pictures. There has been an instance where it's not a picture, but a reflective piece of glass. Somewhat looks like a broken mirror. You can shoot it and break the glass, and there's a painting kind of hidden underneath. It's only happened once, but now I'm curious. More floral pattern. Little floral pattern oven mitt. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else. Henry Mildred Scott. Direct reference to that original clock puzzle. After unveiling the clock, doesn't seem to have changed this. Again, I love just the window and lamp for creating the effect. All right. Well, we will more thoroughly explore that tomorrow night. But for now, that is going to be it for me. But thank you all so much. Really appreciate everybody coming through. There's music. Really appreciate everybody coming through, hanging out tonight. The subs, the gift subs, the raids. Thank you so much again. Epona Croutons, Cat Link, Big Boy Jones. And anybody new here coming in, following, or just hanging out and enjoying the vibes. Really appreciate y'all being here. I'll be back tomorrow about 9 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be here Monday through Friday around the same time, picking this same thing back up. So if you had a good time looking at the free cam, the details, and expanded lore discussions of Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2 Remake, definitely come back. Hang out again tomorrow. yeah, thanks you guys so much. And I will see you all tomorrow night. Be good to each other. Much love. Peace.